This conference will now be recorded.
The first thing on the agenda will be the invocation that will be given by Council Member Drake.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this evening, and thank you for bringing the town together, and the townspeople and the elected officials to do your work, God, and to lead us into making good decisions for everyone, and to work together as a team. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the next thing, I will take any motions relating to the agenda, if anybody has one. Okay, if there's no motions relating to the agenda, we'll go into the minutes approval, and this is the minutes approval for November 22nd and January 10th.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the revised meeting minutes from November 22nd, 2022, and the regular meeting from January 10th, 2023, as presented.
Second. Okay, before we vote on that, is there any discussion? Okay. Councilman Stanley,
Yes.
Holder,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Cracklaw,
Yes.
Kinkin,
Yes.
Drake,
Yes.
and myself is yes. So that passed unanimously. The next thing is the public comments. And these are any public comments relating to the agenda items. And each speaker has a 5-minute limit. So we have no public comments tonight. Okay. The next thing is the communications, and we're going to start out with communications with the finance report, but interim administrator Rao would like to explain the new procedure we're doing for this.
Well, thank you, Mayor. And before Diana comes up, I just want to let council know that Diana and I have met on multiple occasions about the delivery of this report. And one of the things that we're going to try to start to do is to show the information in more of a chart and a graph style format. It's a lot of information for Diana to stand up there and read through, and sometimes it does get difficult to follow, and sometimes it is just, it's difficult to digest all that information. So you're still going to have the spreadsheets and all of that obviously in your packet, but we're starting tonight really with just the pier. So we're going to take some smaller steps as we develop this and look at all the different budgets that make up the town and show the information differently. So you'll see in your packet, and Diana's going to go over it. We have a pie chart to show the money in and the money out for the pier. And both of us, any suggestions that you may have in how you would like to see the information, we know it can be improved upon, we welcome that. So, thank you.
Yes.
Just one thing, if you could relate it to how we see the budget and how the budget is approved, I think that will become much clearer for not only council, but for our residents as well, because, right now, it's very difficult to try to reconcile where we are versus the budget, the approved budget versus some of the monthly information we're given.
Okay, yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay. We're ready for you, Ms. King.
Oh, you are? Sweet, I thought you was gonna be it. Okay, this is for December, and this is, I guess, Miss Kitty, I don't understand really what you're trying to ask me, but I'd be more than happy to do it. I just don't understand what you're asking for the budget versus the budget.
We can get into that offline. I'll try to pull examples together and give them to you.
Okay, that works. Okay, well, right now we're mid-year. December is our best month for the collection of taxes. January, it goes to 500,000 in November, it goes to $1.5 million in December, and I'll go back to 700 in January. And pretty much all of our real estate taxes will be paid. Not the personal property taxes, but the real estate taxes. General funds revenue this month was $4 million. Our expenditures, unfortunately, were $4.1 million. So we have $100,000 revenue under expenses. Property taxes, as it says, 1.4 million in December. In December, there were 19 new business licenses opened. Hospitality and local ATAX and ATAX are in their kind of winter months, so it's a slowdown. Doesn't totally stop, but we don't get a whole lot of money in these next couple of months. It'll pick up again in April, which we won't get till May. Capital Projects Fund, we took Town Hall down in December. Horry County has resumed sending us the money for road fees, which we didn't get for a year. So we now get that again, which will go towards the road paving projects that we have planned for later this year. Stormwater Utility Fund, we do get that money in with our tax collections. So this month we did get 294,000, no, 179,000, sorry. Sanitation just kind of goes along steady all year round. Lanier is no longer doing our parking. That's the end of our parking from Lanier. So we've got $132,000 in revenue from July to December. And then we have the pier. And if you want to, we can go through each of the pages first, but in general fund, I wrote you some notes on the side that licenses and permits are exceeding the budget. Finance fees, we did get an additional fee from beach services this month. Police fines are going to exceed budget for the year, as is interest. The SAFER grant, unfortunately, in the next interfundal revenue, we're not going to get that, so we probably need to do a budget number to take that $288,000 out. So you see on the next page, I have a budget amendment for the SAFER grant. So for this year-to-date, third column over, $4,094,000 in revenue for general fund. And then each of the departments, if you wanted to figure out how to look at it, the easiest way is in the last column in the percentage. It tells you what the department is, and most of them are exceeding 50%. So they have not spent 50% of their budget, which would be the target if you were to spend the same amount every month, which we do not. But I think all of the departments are like 49.50, and then a bunch of them are over 50% in that last column, which is the quick and easy way to see where we stand. So if you go to the last page of general fund, which is page 7 of 7, in that percentage column, I was talking about the expenses for general fund are 52%. They're supposed to be 50, or the target is 50, so we have done better than that. We have 52% left. So the net loss for the general fund for this year to date is $98,000. This will be one of our better months, then we'll slip again and we'll make the rest of our money up in July, which is really June's money. So I really think we will come in on budget. The next page is for sanitation, and it's just $151,000 of revenue. The net is $98,000. Accommodations, we won't get any money from the state till next month. In hospitality, I've listed out there what all the expenditures are. We had to pay for the roof on the police department. We bought patrol vehicles, we're recording equipment, Purvis floors in the fire department, and on down the things that we did. And then we have 3 budget amendments. Park restroom, which was supposed to be finished last year, that didn't get finished till this year. We have engineering for a walkover, which was not budgeted, that we have started to spend money on. And then the police department roof. And I think the rest of them are pretty self-explanatory. They're all doing extremely well. Money has been put in for beach nourishment. And we did get in the pier, the news for the pier is we got the $1 million grant from the state this month. So that was the PRT grants that we applied for. We did get that $1 million. It came in. So if you go at my little spreadsheet here, in the middle is what we have graphed in the two graphs. So all these are is taking the things that we have said we're going to put money aside for the pier. The FEMA grant, transfers from other funds, the bond to $4 million, and the 2 PRT grants. And that's the $9,947,000 for FEMA grant, and the total is $20,546,221. The second graph just shows you how we spent it. The same $20,546,221. And what it's showing you is the main line of that is the contingency fund, which was $1 million, is down to 850,785. And that's just taking the work orders that we've approved. This is not the money that's out the door. This is just what we've committed to and to spend. So we have the acceptable bid, the change orders, which are the 4,226,628. Pre-construction, we spent 989,000. Collins, we've spent 614, or will spend 614. The insurance was 315. The restaurant outfit is to be $200. And then the other costs are 199,995, leaving the contingency of 850,000. That shrinks as we add more change orders. That's what drives that number. The very last page is how we spent that, how we got the $20 million, and right now we spent $15,362,000 to date, and what funds it came out of. So we're down into the second $1 million grant. We have $85,000 left of it, and then the rest of the money is from internal funds. And if we can make it this much simpler, it would be much better, I can assure you. Does anybody have a question?
Mr. Mayor, I noticed that we had storm damage both at the pier and in town. Will any of that be reimbursed by FEMA?
Yes, John is working on that. He's been to a couple meetings on it, and we're submitting some numbers, and we should get some money from FEMA for the town. The pier, I don't know, I guess that goes through them, I assume. It doesn't go through us. So I don't know the answer to that.
Well, pier had insurance.
Right, but we also did pay for hurricane damage, was one of the change orders. Hurricane cleanup, we paid $56,000 and $124.
Yes. It's $180,000.
We did pay that. It's part of the price. I don't think we paid it yet or not. I don't remember.
So the insurance, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
so the insurance will not reimburse none of that money back to the pier?
I don't know the answer to that.
Cover.
I don't know the answer to that.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
One of the things that we are working on, and we've been working with Consensus, there was an additional insurance policy that we purchased. The town purchased it, but Consensus is the one that worked with the insurance company to get this policy. And it's for lost work time. And myself and Mayor Hellier have been on a conference call with the insurance company, and we're starting to work on that process to see if there's a possibility of the town getting reimbursed any money due to lost work time and lost revenues that could have been projected for the pier during a period of time. So we're starting that process. I've actually gotten information back from the insurance company and some questions that they have that we need to answer to try to get some of that money back.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I just have two questions. Down at the bottom, you have Collins for 614. Does that include the latest change notice 4
Yes, ma'am.
that we just approved?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My other question is, on the spreadsheet here, you show transfers to the pier fund from other funds is $5,099,000. But on the back page and on the graphic, it shows that number to be $5,184,055. So I'm assuming one or the other should be updated. I would think they'd both be the same number.
I promise you. I'm not real sure why that $5,099,000 number is.
$5,099,000.
Right.
It's month paid transfer from other funds to FY 2023 under pure funding resources on the spreadsheet.
Well, it's the same number on the graph, $5,099,000.
But on your table in the back, behind the graph, it shows transfer from other funds is $5,184,055. On this.
Oh, because we're not going to the same number. That's because, okay, that's just a difference of, that's using the 15,362,000. So you're saying all of those funds together is not the 5,099,000?
Well, you
It's
got
all
it
of them.
totaled to 5,184. I didn't total them separately. I'm just going by what's written on paper.
I really don't know. I'll have to look. Sorry about that.
Does anyone else have any further questions? I thank you very much. The next thing is the administrator's report.
Thank
Which
you,
is a
Mayor.
new topic that we're having on the agenda, and that will be here every week from now on.
It is, yes, sir. And I was going to mention that. Thank you, sir. This is one of the things that I would like to try to do and will do during my interim as the administrator. I think it's important for the town to hear from the administrator and just talk a little bit about what is going on in the town and, just some blurbs basically from some of the departments. So I think first and foremost, Diana just gave some progress and an update on the finances for the pier. I'm not sure if the community knows that every Tuesday, all the stakeholders with the pier, the town, Collins Engineering, LS3P, and Consensus, we have a conference call to get a progress on what's going on with the pier. So I'm not going to read everything from the progress report, but here's a couple highlights. As far as the pier, they are on pier vent number 13, which is basically the end of the pier. The pier is going to be the same length, and it's about 580 feet. So we're getting near the end of the pier, and ICM, Intercoastal Marine, they've begun form work on pier vent number 13. So they're moving along with the pier. As far as the buildings, Consensus is in the process that the sidewalks are being poured at the podium level. And you will see that there's roofers and siding folks that are on the scene that are currently working along with electricians and plumbers on the buildings. Window installation should begin within the next week or so. The fire suppression system is going to be going into the buildings. The water main pipe has been inspected, and we've been working with Grand Strand Water and Sewer to make sure that we're meeting all of those requirements. So that is moving along. There's multiple submittals that were done during this period. Everything from building aid louvers to fire suppression product data, to flexible roof walkway systems, to thermal insulation products, and to interior and exterior painting samples, and all of those types of things. There's only one request for information that is out now from the design team, and that's about restroom hand dryers. And upcoming schedule for this week is the contractors will continue to work on the buildings, and the design team will be coordinating a visit with the contractor on the site for probably next week. So that just gives you a little snapshot of the many things that's going on at the pier. The second thing is I want to just touch a little bit on some of the departments, and I'm going to start with Public Works with Director John Adair, who gave me two little bullets just to mention to our community. Is you have already seen that Old Town Hall demolition is complete, and the site is being prepared for hydro seeding. The concrete sidewalk section was damaged, but that's going to be repaired by Public Works. And the seal coating of the Huckabee complex parking lot will start within the next couple weeks, and it should be completed before spring baseball activities begin. And John did want me to mention that a grant partially paid for that, so there's going to be a reimbursement to the town of $8,509 of the $19,586. So John's very good at getting grants and trying to help pay for things, so we appreciate that very much. As far as the police department, Chief Hoffman wanted me to let the community know that the police department's been very successful in filling some of the open vacancies. The salary adjustments that council made with the last budget has allowed Chief Hoffman to get some highly qualified candidates. And he had one new officer that was sworn in, I believe it was last week. And currently he has one officer in the police academy. 3 officers are currently certified in various stages of their departmental training. And the police department anticipates being fully staffed March the 1st. Let's hope that lasts through May the 1st. He's also, police department's also completed the replay server, and that was a funded project with the FY 22-23 budget. And that system replaced the aging and failing recording system for the police department radio channel, cell phone lines, and 911 lines. And the system is working as expected. The Flock license plate readers were installed on January 18th, 19th, and 20th. And they expect the system to be operational within the next few weeks, and there's going to be some on-site training for the officers. The solar-powered speed radar sign that was funded in FY 22-23 has been installed on 16th Avenue North, and the 10th Avenue South sign is awaiting SDOT approval. And John, Kenny wanted me to mention that John was instrumental, Public Works, in making that project happen. So there's a lot moving with the police department. As far as the fire department goes, and Diana already mentioned this, one of the things is we did not get the SAFER grant that I submitted through the federal government. There was many fire departments did not receive SAFER grant. Everybody is trying to get, a piece of that. So it's one of the things that we'll be having some discussions with council as we go into this budget season, and how we can possibly staff those 4 positions. Rescue Engine 56 was out for about 6 months. It has been back for about a month now. It was out for warranty work, and I'm happy to say that, knock on wood, that we've had no significant issues, and it is running and functioning to serve this community the way it should. Last but not least, this is probably one of the most important things. We are going to have a community safety enhancement through the fire department starting February the 1st. And that is when our ALS service will start on the rescue engine. So it's something that I've been working on along with council. You will see that Rescue Engine 56 will have ALS, Advanced Life Support Providers, paramedics. So as God forbid someone has a heart attack or something like that, we're going to be able to provide paramedic care as we're waiting for a transport unit to get there. So I anticipate many lives being saved with that enhancement. There's been a lot of work that we've put in to doing that. 2 other notes real quickly is we got one event, we got a bunch of events that are getting ready to come up, but the barbecue festival will be in March, and on Friday, March the 3rd is the Anything But Barbecue night, and then the barbecue festival will be Saturday, March the 4th. Sherry has been working extremely hard on that. Tabitha Mall has been helping her, and Tabitha will be coming on board as a part-time person for the town to help us with events. With Robert leaving, we are working towards filling that position, but Tabitha is going to help us with the events and our social media. So some of the things that you're seeing now not being posted on Facebook, we're not doing the outreach that we should be doing, but quite frankly, we're struggling a little bit with that, with all the vacancies that we have. But we are going to fix that, and we're all going to get better. Last but not least, you're probably going to see a television crew around town from about January the 28th to around February the 1st. And I don't know if you all have heard of the Beachfront Bargain Hunt renovation. It used to be a show that was on HGTV. Now it's on the Magnolia Network. And you're going to see some film crews around town, filming some of the homes here as they film that TV show. So with that, Mayor, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
All right, does anybody have any questions? The administrator. Okay, moving right along, the next thing is we're going to the discussion, and we will hear about the parking recommendation given by Mr. Coleman. Good evening.
Good evening, Harry Coleman, Chairman of the Parking Committee. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't think anybody here.
Harry, what number's on the microphone?
10.
Try it now.
Hello? All right, I'll just talk about it. The Parking Committee has gotten together, and the last couple of months been working on a number of things. I'm bringing 2 of them to you right now. you want me to do one at a time, and then you discuss and ask questions, or just do both of them and then?
I prefer one at a time.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I would think so too.
Yeah.
All right, the first one's gonna be raising the pier parking lot fees from $2 an hour to $3 an hour. Town residents, part-time property owners, and non-residents with registrations, meaning the decals, will not be honored there. Some have suggested to the park committee to raise the parking fees in the pier parking lot, and that all visitors will pay to park, including town of Surfside Beach residents. The pier parking lot will be a high tourist destination, provide a premier parking location. This rationale justifies the consideration for the higher fee. Charging a higher fee, I believe, will help with visitor turnover rates so that others can use this location. It's going to be it will be $3 an hour, no all-day rate, and should eliminate people who are parking there all day long at the beach, going to the beach. So this way, people can come in, they stay a couple hours, new people come in, stay a couple hours, and people, the restaurants and the vendors up on the pier will get a fresh dose of clientele all day long. And we passed this recommendation with a unanimous vote, and we recommend you approve the raising the pier parking lot from $2 an hour to $3 an hour, with the stipulation that town residents, part-time property owners, or non-residents with a free registration will not be honored.
Anybody have any questions about that? Go ahead.
Harry, you saying that you will charge residents
No, yes, residents, if they want to park in our parking lot,
any parking lot?
No, just
No,
in the pier
the
park.
pier,
The
this,
pier parking lot?
this is the pier parking lot.
Okay.
This is exclusively the pier parking lot. It's not the yacht pond parking lot. It's the one that is right in front of the pier.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to know, did you have any discussion with Pivot Parking? Because at some point, they recommended that we maybe have like a variable pay. If it's busy, the rate goes up.
That's the first I'm ever hearing about a variable. I honestly don't know how you do that. You have to sign it, the parking lot. I don't see a sign. You can say, if it's empty, it will charge you 2, but if it's crowded, it will charge you 3. And if it's really busy, it will charge you 4. I've never heard that though.
I have not heard of the variable rates either. I don't think that was something that we proposed. It is possible if that's something that you want to do. It's not hard to do, but I don't think that's something that we proposed.
No, I thought I heard that, maybe I didn't.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I did hear that too from Pivot at the beginning. That could have been before.
Mr. Mayor, I know Pivot had proposed, designated certain parking lots throughout the town as more of the premium parking and basically the closer to the beach you get, the higher the rate. Has Pivot come in and discussed any of this with the parking committee as far as an overview of the entire town, not just the pier parking lot? Because we've got a couple other parking lots that are oceanfront as well, down at, 13th and at 6th, also at 3rd. Why should those not be any, maybe lesser premium than pier parking lot, but maybe more premium than, Yopon or the one at Pinewood? So, and I think what was discussed at that time was we were going to evaluate the first year with, the pier parking lot coming back online, figuring out, how many parking spaces were there, how are we orchestrating in, the commemorative papers, and I don't even know what the parking lot looks like at this time, because we're supposed to be doing more green space and, some other things. It just seems to me that based on previous discussions and understandings, that maybe this is something we want to take a look at for the next parking season and address it townwide, not just piecemealing one particular parking lot at a time, because for the last 3 council meetings, we've heard 3 different times that we're not recommending raising any parking fees. We're not recommending raising any parking fees. So there seems to be a disconnect, but, what is really being recommended to council. And I don't attend your meetings, because that's not really my role. That's what we have you for. But I'm not sure where the disconnect is, and I think we need a little better collaboration with all the parties involved and come up with one story. Instead of giving this piecemeal, giving our residents and our visitors just another excuse to say, oh, well, there goes Surfside again, it's just nickel diming us. They're raising parking rates again, oh, they're raising rates again. It just doesn't give a good reputation for us.
Well, that's exactly why we recommended not to raise the fees throughout the whole town and not piecemeal and try to get as many dollars from the residents that live across the way. The whole idea was the pier is a premier parking lot. It's where people will go to the pier, they'll go to the restaurants. The turnover will be a lot. Talking about 13th Avenue, that's not, it's a nice parking lot. It's very, very small, but it's not a premier in the sense that we want it to turn over. We don't care if people turn over or not. People are gonna go there for the whole day. The whole idea is raising the rates, and if it works out good this year, maybe raise it a little bit more next year. All depends. But the whole idea is to get the turnover, so that someone doesn't pluck down their $2 and sit in that pier parking lot for the whole day. And those restaurants and the stores on the pier get no business. This way, people will get business. The whole idea, a long time ago, about parking meters and stuff like that, was because the city wanted to make a lot of money. It turned out they started doing that. The whole idea was the turnover. Get other people to park in those spots. So if you go to New York City, you have 2-hour parking. You're not allowed to feed the meter. That's it. You get 2 hours to park there. It could cost you $5 an hour, but you only get 2 hours. So the whole idea is make it a little more expensive, and this way someone won't park there for the whole day. And it won't be a whole day rate. Like you have it right now, it's $10 for the day to park. You won't have that. You're gonna have to pay $3 an hour. This way, they're not gonna park there they can go to Yard Pond and park for the whole day.
Mr. Mayor, and this parking lot also does not go back to the general fund of the parking. It goes directly into the pier account, does it not?
It's the pier parking fund.
Yes, that's just goes into the pier.
Pier.
Don't go as the other parking lots is paid back into a fund that is put aside to buy property and stuff like that. Is that not correct?
Well, that's what it was meant to be. I don't
Yes.
believe that's still
Well,
what
it
happened.
was, some of it spent for property costing,
For land,
for
period.
land.
Right, but not for parking lots.
No, for land, no.
Yeah.
Say parking.
So it's like most governments, they took a,
Yes, sir. But that was my understanding of why this would be just a little bit more higher too, to get that traffic to turn over in the pure parking lot. Is that not what you're getting at?
yes, the whole idea is to get turnover there.
Yes.
So that, just, at first I was saying, it's gonna hurt the businesses because they're gonna have to pay an extra $1. But what happens is, if you didn't charge the extra $1, people would park there all day long. And the business won't have that turnover. They won't have people coming into their stores. If people park there the whole day, they come off the beach, they might go to a restaurant, but they're gonna be there the whole day. This way, hopefully, they won't be there the whole, and if they're there the whole day, then we maybe raise it to $4. We'll see. It's just, it's an evolving process.
Mr. Mayor, Ms. Keating, I know that I came into this, really late, but I know, having discussions, with Harry and when we were putting this together, there were discussions, and I've had discussions with Pierre about the 30,000 foot level of the town as far as other premier parking. But, this is gonna be an impact on, the people that live here, also the folks that visit here, and we're trying to lessen that impact as much as we possibly can while still gaining some revenue at this premier spot. So that was one of the reasons why, and Harry, correct me if I'm wrong here, that we just chose the pier as that premier. But I do think that you're right in the fact that as this evolves, from year to year, that we need to work with Pivot to look at all those other opportunities other than this starting point here. So there was some discussion that we had about that, and I know Pivot has also looked at that.
Mr. Mayor. Pivot pointed out that a lot of our oceanfront parking lots are, in their mind, are premier parking lots. The committee looked at it from the standpoint, if we charge $3 or whatever to park there, it's just gonna move people back into R3. And we do want them to come down and park $10 for all day, and it's good for all the parking lots except the pier. So if they go to crossover on 6th, no, that's a parking lot, 4th, and then they decide, well, we're gonna go eat lunch and go down and park at Yopon. That $10 parking is still all day from 7 o'clock to 7 o'clock. So I don't think we've done a very good job of educating people that it is the good there, but it will not be good at the pier. So we only have two prices. Everything but the pier is $2 an hour. The pier is $3 and there is no all-day parking. So you want to park all day, it'll cost you $36. We'll take your money. The other part of parking is as much about control as it is money. And I've said that several times, that we talked about it in the committee, that it's as much about control as it is about making money. We're not trying to make the maximum dollar, maybe we should, but we don't want people parking in R3. We'd rather park in our parking places. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
We now are going to have a pier that's not much nicer than we've had in the past. With a $20 million pier. So I think it justifies this with the three, having an extra parking fee, and kind of going on what the pier is and starting from day one. So I do think we need to start out with the $3 fee. And I agree, no decals. Don't take up all the spaces for that. So, thank you.
That's what our opinion was, that if we allowed the decal, say the decal card, we're getting rid of decals, but the decal cars in there, you're gonna fill up that parking lot.
Mr. Mayor, just one more question. You're not proposing to post any particular time limit, though. You're just raising the rate, correct?
Right now, just raising the rate and see what happens with that.
Well, because what I understood from Pivot when they came in, with their presentation was, and I'll just use it as an example, the pier parking lot would be like $5 an hour. Other oceanfront lots, maybe $3 an hour, and the ones further back would be the $2 an hour. So, you had a rationale of categorization of, I'll call it the benefits of each parking lot. So, how do we know $3 is the right number here?
Well,
I just don't want to get into the habit of every year changing parking rates and saying, oh, well, this is now, well, yeah, we raised it to $3 last year, but it really should be closer to $5. And we raise it $4 next year or whatever. It's just not a good optic for the town not to have an overall strategy of parking fees to start with. Is just my point. I'm not opposed to raising the parking fees for premium parking, but I want to see a strategy for the entire town, not just individual lots.
I just talked about that. The idea was that we would charge, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I just mentioned that a minute ago. The committee came back and said to utilize our lots without forcing people to park in our neighborhoods, we would keep everything the same except the pier. Now, if you go to $5 an hour, yeah, you may make a little more money, but you won't have the turnover. You won't have the people going down to the pier that pay to park at $3. They might not want to spend $10 to park there to go have lunch. We have to keep in mind, we've got vendors there that are expecting people to come, and we also want to encourage that. Again, it's not about making every last dollar. It's about control and having turnover and getting more people down on the pier.
Mr. Mayor, can we not say that we can look after this again in possibly another year to go back and revise it? I mean, look at it again?
Well, council can do whatever council wants to do. I mean, we could
I
put
mean,
it in
this ain't,
tonight and take it out tomorrow. I mean,
this is not set in stone that this is gonna have to be forever. I mean, it's options that we can look at it every year, or every 6 months, or every time we have a council meeting, if we have to.
And Mr. Mayor, Mr. Stanley, that is exactly what Pivot's gonna do. Whether it's a semi-annual basis or annual basis, I really don't have the answer for that yet. But that is part of their responsibility, is to, look at revenues, look at where people are parking, look to see where there's other opportunities, and report that, to council, as a yearly strategy, and, a proactive approach to parking and control and all of that. As our contractor, we're gonna be relying on them to do that and make sure that that's done, because you're right, it needs to be looked at, every year at a minimum.
Based on number one that you gave us, which is the parking, raising the parking from $2 to $3, do I have a motion on that?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we raise the parking at the pier parking lot from $2 to $3, and it does not include, but we do, that's for everyone, and not permitting any sticker or any other prison.
Second.
So it's not for residents.
Right.
Okay.
Residents will pay.
All right. Do I have a second on that?
You already got it.
Second.
Okay. Is there any,
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if we need to put that in. The only people that are gonna park there free are handicapped and disabled veterans. And that's by state law. We can't change that.
And the 2 restaurant parking lots.
There's only one.
It's only one, and
There's
the loading
there's
is
only one for residents. Also, we need to figure out inside the pier parking lot are the 4 spaces that Pizza Hyena has. And I haven't seen the development on the way the new parking lot is developed, whether they're still there or whether they've isolated them out to put their 4 parking spots separate from the pier parking lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that we're gonna have to discuss. Go ahead, Mr. Drake.
Mr. Mayor, I was concerned with the $3 for the pier parking, but the pier parking should be for the purpose of pier parking only. You shouldn't be going down to the beach, just like you go down to Garden City. They got signs there, do not park here for going to the beach, not beach access. And trying to keep people from parking there to go to the beach. I don't hear that in that. The people that are paying to be there are gonna wanna get revenue from people coming up and down. And I agree with the turnover rate. $3 I could live with, but I just think that there needs to be something in there about that. With the parking only for the pier people going to the pier for the purpose of going to the beach.
That becomes
That's what.
Mr. Mayor, that becomes an enforcement issue, because once that car parks,
I don't know how you enforce
you
that.
have no idea where they are. All we're interested in is if they're there for 2 hours, they paid for 2 hours. If they're there for 3 hours and they paid for 2, then they're gonna get a ticket, hopefully.
Based on that, Mr. Stady,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes,
Judy,
No,
Pepperell,
Yes.
Kinkin,
Yes.
Drake,
No.
and I'm yes, so that didn't pass. Let's talk about item number 2.
Item number 2 is about the pay stations. Subject implementation of Text-to-Park and Park Mobile for the entire parking areas in town. We request the town council to approve Text-to-Park and Park Mobile for the entire parking areas in town. We want to replace all 13 pay stations. Well, to replace all 13 pay station is going to cost anywhere from $104,000 to $130,000. That's $8,000 to $10,000 per pay station. Or you can repair them at a high cost, and who knows how long they will last. And the problem is, I think the modems, the way they use the internet, all of them are the old time, so you'd have to probably replace all of them. Virtual parking, which Park Mobile and Text-to-Park, we're using it in town already, and it's the future. Years ago, when I was on the parking committee and we recommended the pay stations and all that, instead of the parking meters, that was a big thing. That was, wow, that's the future. It comes to pass that it's the future, but it costs a lot of extra money because we're at the beach and these things don't handle well. 5 years, maybe you get out of them. And that's with a lot of repairing. So with a little education, people who don't understand how to do it, they'll be able to do it. Except for a couple of people have flip phones still, but they got to get into the smartphones. I don't think they have a problem. The town has 24 parking areas with Text-to-Park and Park Mobile already. That's the only option. We have 11 areas with pay stations, and also you can use the virtual platform. So we would like you to approve the implementation of Text-to-Park and Park Mobile for the entire parking areas in town.
Mr. Mayor, just to confirm one thing, the parking signs for the pay to park and the park, Text-to-Park, they do also have a phone number that somebody can just call Pivot and they'll enter all the information. They don't have to be able to text or use an app, correct? They can just use their flip phone and call a number, correct?
And then we're also recommending that the parking enforcement, beginning of the season, a little less enforcement, a little more explaining how to use this.
Mr. Mayor, I still have a problem with eliminating all of our pay stations. The data showed that 70% of our money in Yopon came from the pay stations. I'm not saying by the 13 pay stations, but I think the high volume, such as Yopon, possibly Third Avenue North or whatever, and maybe just Yopon, just 2 of them. But I think money would be well spent. It would only be 2, if they're new, I would think they would at least last 2 years or 3 years, which would give, as the time goes on, more and more people will get comfortable with the Text-to-Park. But at this point in time, if they're given a choice, they prefer the pay station. So that's just my thoughts on it.
I hang around with a lot of younger people. They have no idea what this is. I honestly don't. It's all plastic, and it's all a phone. And it's all, QR, whatever, I don't know, whatever they're called. So it is definitely the way of the future. I just don't see wasting our money to get a product, you know, it's gonna cost you $2,000 a year, just to make it a little simple for something that people are gonna learn how to do. It's there, it's easier in their mind, because this is the way they've always done it. I always pay in cash. I'm probably one of the only crazy people in the world paying in cash, instead of just sticking a card in a card reader. But it's the way of the future, and to spend extra money to allow people to not do it, and it's gonna cost us more. If you use, I believe the Park Mobile or Text to Park, I'm not sure which one, we don't pay the fees. Doesn't cost the town anything. Pay station costs the town money. So every time someone uses that, it's coming out, just like a credit card. You use a credit card, they're taking fees out of it. That's why you can see every store in the world now saying, you're paying on credit card, you're gonna cost you 3% more.
Right.
Park Mobile or Text to Park, you just put this, I would even go to one, just go to Text to Park. And you just put the information in, and it turns around and it charges the person. Not, you know, not the town. So you get more money that way too. So I can understand that you think, but where do you pick? And how do you pick? I don't know.
Mr. Mayor, I'm on the same page as Laverne. I don't see personally if we need to buy 13 of them. I know many. But I do still see the need of 2 or 3 of them in town in certain parking lots. And I ain't sure that a lot of people, I mean, they might not use cash, but a lot of people still use credit cards to pay for stuff. I myself, always use credit cards. But, and in saying that, it shows you from last year that 70% of our funds came in through Pay to Park. I mean, it wasn't Text to Park, that was a low rate. So I don't see where we couldn't consider buying 3 of them or so to put around to these major parking lots for the use.
If I may,
Yeah.
if we're talking about purchasing pay stations, that time has long passed. If we're going to have them by March 1st, there is an 8 to 12 week lead time on new pay stations. So if that's what we're going to talk about and move forward with, then those will not be ready by March 1st. Speaking on the pay stations and to follow what Harry says, I do not see where the cost benefit is there. Just to run the pay stations monthly, it's $910 just for the back office software to be able to track all the transactions, plus about $2,000 in one-time cost to get them up and running. We have not even evaluated them because we would have to pay that $2,000 just to get into them and get them activated. In addition, I got with Diana, fiscal year 2022, which ended June 2022, the town paid $21,000 in credit card fees. July to November 2022, the town paid $11,000 in credit card fees. So the last 18 months, the town has paid $32,000 in credit card fees. And that's not on top of the $900 a month for the back office software. And that's not on top of the parts and the labor spent in front of those computers and fixing them. I've said it before this council, those pay stations are 3 or 4 years past their lifespan, essentially. They've been out here in the salt air for too long, and it's showing with the parts the failures. I would agree with Harry and the parking committees to get rid of them and to go to a completely contactless environment. It's going to be beneficial for the town on the back end, and going forward, it is the future.
And just to reiterate, if I pulled in the parking lot and I didn't know how to operate the text, or I didn't know how to whatever, and I didn't have a credit card, all I had was $5 in my pocket, I could call the number and somebody will come meet me on site or somebody will walk me through getting it done?
Yes, sir, Mayor. There will be a phone number on all the signage. As soon as this meeting concludes tonight, I have my sign vendor on standby to get those made up, and they will be on site by March 1st. Our phone number will be plastered on all signage. If they do want to do that, they can pay over the phone. We can put their plate number in on the back end, so it'll show up on the camera systems. And we can either take their cash or we can take their credit cards from that point of view, if they want to go that route.
So there is an alternative.
There is.
Anybody else have any questions?
I'm leaning toward the text to pay too, because as we go along, there's gonna be a lot more changes, I think, coming in as far as debit, credit, all kinds of ways of paying for stuff, but, the cash machine scares me, and the aspect of the credit card charges all the time. It's just more money going out, so.
Anybody else have any comments? Do I have a motion pertaining to this?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we implement the extra park mobile for all parking areas within the town and remove all case that as to have, I don't know whether that's the administrator, look into if there's any residual value in those pay stations that we may get on DuckGov or wherever we've got the parking meters. We've got some of those, so also looking into that residual revenue that we may be able to get from those pay stations.
So that was seconded by Mr. Holder. And we were gonna go with a new process, and I didn't do it the last vote, but I'm gonna do it this vote. I'm sorry. Sherry, could you reinstate the motion for us, please?
Yes, there's a motion made to implement the text to park and park mobile in all the parking lots in town and remove the pay stations, and also to, I didn't get the last part.
Investigate the value that we can get back from selling our pay stations.
Can't write that fast. Good?
Okay. Does everybody understand what the motion is?
Yes.
All right. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Stamey?
Yes.
Councilmember Holder?
Yes.
Councilmember Crackwell? Or Keating, excuse me.
Yes,
Councilmember Crackwell?
No.
Councilmember Kinkin?
Yes.
Councilmember Drake?
Yes.
Mayor Hallier?
Yes.
Thank you.
So that passed. I want to thank the parking committee for all the work they've done on this. The next thing is we're going into the business section. And the first item of business is the second reading of ordinance number 230952, an ordinance to amend chapter 17, article 4, supplemental district regulations of the town code of ordinances. Director Adair.
Good evening, Mayor and
Hold on a
Council.
second.
And do I have a motion?
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to accept second reading of ordinance number 23-0952, making certain modifications to chapter 17 zoning, article 4.
I'll second.
And that was seconded again by,
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. At the last meeting, we presented several changes to the supplemental regulations in chapter 17, article 4. One of the highest concerns for the residents in the town was the height requirements and the adjustments of those height requirements. This proposal does limit that. The section requires that a 2/3 vote of a full council, not only a quorum of council, be required for any height changes in the zoning ordinance. The others were to allow for accessory uses within the commercial zoning districts. Right now, currently, we do not allow for accessory structures in those districts. It also eliminated the removal of the 10-foot setback from the street right-of-ways, and the 5-foot setback from any clear for merchandise being shown in commercial districts. They can go all the way up to the property line. And require that any merchandise being displayed is associated with the businesses and products sold on that site. I'd be glad to answer any questions if you like, if you have any. I know at the last meeting, it was a unanimous vote, and there has been no changes.
Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you for changing the restrictions on height limits that require at least a 2/3. I wish it was unanimous, but you can't do that. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend section 17-406, building height, roof pitch limit, and building height definition. I just want to add at the end of it, it's been brought to my attention that this may be able to be changed by a simple majority. And so I would like to add a sentence to the end of this section that states, the same 2/3 vote of the entire council, not to include 2/3 of a quorum present, shall be required to amend this section 17-406 of the Code of Ordinances.
Can you do that?
Yes, we have checked with legal counsel, and that is
So that's
proper.
an amendment. You have that. Do I have a second on that? Does anybody have any further questions or discussion about this before we vote on it?
You're voting on the amendment first.
Do you want to reinstate the amendment?
The amendment to the original motion is the same 2/3 vote of the entire council, not to include 2/3 of a quorum present, shall be required to amend this section 17-406 of the Code of Ordinances.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Stamey?
Yes.
Councilmember Holder?
Yes.
Councilmember Keating?
Yes.
Councilmember Kreckball?
Yes.
Councilmember Kinkin?
Yes.
Councilmember Drake?
Yes.
Mayor Hellier?
Yes,
That's it.
and that vote passed unanimously.
Now I have to vote for the,
Yeah, could you reinstate the original motion?
The original motion was to accept second reading of chapter 17 with modifications to Article 4.
I don't think we need to vote on that though, correct?
It's the second reading.
Second reading.
It's a second reading.
If you,
Well, but
with the amendment,
yeah, we voted on that as amended. We don't have a second vote.
on this one.
Why would you not?
No,
You just voted on the amendment.
Right.
No, because we voted on an amended motion that said we accept.
I amended the motion.
She's right.
That's right.
Okay,
Good.
I'm sorry.
we're gonna move right along to the comprehensive plan update, of which there's no vote on tonight.
There's no vote, and I apologize. I did ask, since I was up here, I talked to the interim administrator, and I felt like since I was already up here, we'd go ahead and add it to that section. So that's on me. But I did want to, we have had several talks with the consultants for the comprehensive plan, and that they have scheduled a drop-in open house to the public. We actually have handouts in the back as well, for Tuesday, February 21st, and they are going to meet from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. here in the Civic Center. Attached, which I've placed in front of all of you, on the second page is the public kickoff draft schedule. At 8:30, they're going to meet with staff, and if you'll go down to 12 p.m., we're going to have a working lunch with the Planning Commission and the Steering Committee and council members. We will be advertising because it will be a public meeting. They're gonna meet with stakeholders during the day, and then at 5 o'clock, we're gonna meet here, and they're gonna have a baseline for any ideas or recommendations that the public may have regarding the comprehensive plan.
What date is that?
It's Tuesday, February 21st.
From 5 to 7.
Yes, in this room. On the last page, they've submitted a Surfside Beach Comprehensive Plan schedule. They started the work in November of 2022. They've actually gotten a lot done since then, and their projection to have the entire process complete will be August of this year. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer those. We actually try to schedule a Zoom call meeting with the consultants at least once a week to kind of keep up with what's going on.
Anybody have any questions?
Mr. Mayor, do we have what, till December to finish this?
Yes, December of this year. Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
I like August.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
is the planning board up to date on all this information?
They have been, and they will be, they're gonna get this information at the February 2nd meeting.
But are they up to date on what they have done with the comprehensive?
No, and we've actually asked for updates, and they're going to give the updates at that meeting. And then they're going to meet with them to kind of go over.
So what you're telling me is, right now, our planning board has no idea what's going on with this.
No, we don't either. They haven't submitted any of what they've done as of yet. Yeah, they're working on, and basically what we asked them what they were working on, and they said it's the population, the things that they can't change. So at the steering committee, that's when they're gonna look at the future and the needs of the town. Right now, they're just working on general things like the census populations and the number of homes in the town of Surfside Beach, the aging population, those things that can't change. And that there's no recommendation. It's based on the census studies. So that's why they haven't got involved, according to the story.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next thing on the agenda is the Festival of Arts and Crafts.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is to approve the agreement with My Olive Shack for
Point of
the
order.
festival.
There needs to be a motion.
Yes, can I have a motion for this?
May I make a motion that we approve an agreement with My Olive Shack to conduct the Festival of Arts and Crafts at Memorial Park in the 2023 season.
Second.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Sharon. This is to approve the agreement with My Olive Shack for the Festival of Arts Crafts. My Olive Shack was initially approved to hold a market in the Memorial Park every Thursday from 10 to 3, from April the 14th until November the 17th. This contract will be for the 2023 calendar year. The market will be held every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., starting April the 6th, 2023, and continuing to November the 2nd, 2023. This contract will also include December 9th and 10th of 2023. The recommendation is to approve a new contract with My Olive Shack for the Festival and Arts Crafts.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
When we revised chapter 12, there's a significant portion of that ordinance that now addresses third-party sponsored events and what the town will and will not do. And there was to be published a fee schedule on what the town would charge these third parties that want to come in, and basically they're leasing our public property. We also allowed in that ordinance that it's up to the town, had the right to determine to waive any of its fee schedules, for charitable organizations or charitable purposes, et cetera. But, what we've got here is just their application. Has this been reduced to the actual contract that was part of that ordinance? Because there was an actual contract that would be executed and it would be presented as a resolution that we would approve this resolution and the binding contract to be signed.
I do not have an answer for that. So that's something I'll have to find out.
So is that gonna hold up our,
I think with that question, we should.
Yeah, so
let
Mr.
me get
Mayor,
that information.
I would make a motion to, defer this until the next council meeting.
I'll second that.
okay. Sherry, do you wanna state the motion?
The motion is to defer this application until the next meeting.
Okay, and the roll call, please.
Councilmember Stamey,
Yes.
Councilmember Holder.
Yes.
Councilmember Keating,
Yes,
Councilmember Kreckler,
Yes.
Councilmember Kinkin,
Yes.
Councilmember Drake,
Yes.
Mayor Hellier.
Yes. And with that, I need the next thing is the Waccamaw Market Cooperative. And
I'll be the same thing.
I need a motion for that. Do we want
yeah, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to defer the discussion on, accepting the Waccamaw Market Cooperative's proposal for, conducting the farmer's market in the 2023 season.
Second.
And Mr. Mayor, I would like to also make a note that there is nowhere in our ordinance as modified in chapter 12 that allows us to pay a third party to conduct an event in town. So we will need to look at this $27.50 fee as a charitable contribution, and document that accordingly, if that's what we choose to do.
Okay, thank you. We'll look into both of those.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Sherry, do you want to restate the motion?
The motion is to defer this application also to the next meeting for the operation of the Waccamaw Cooperative Market for the 2023 season.
Okay, a roll call, please.
Councilmember Stamey,
Yes.
Councilmember Holder,
Yes.
Councilmember Keating,
Yes,
Councilmember Kreckler,
Yes.
Councilmember Kinkin,
Yes.
Councilmember Drake,
Yes.
Mayor Hellier.
Yes. Okay. Now we'll come down to committee appointment. And this is for KSSB. Do I have a motion for that?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we appoint the new members to KSB.
Second.
Mr. Mayor?
Do we have two openings?
No, there's one
We only have one
There's
opening.
only one seat,
Because we've got two applicants,
Right,
Correct.
and we have one opening,
and we have one opening.
so we need to figure out.
which one it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make the motion that we, consider, Shirley Gordon for the nominee for Surfside Beach, beautification committee.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, and discussion?
Mr. Mayor, do we have any information from the chairman of the committee as to whether they're familiar with either of these volunteers?
No,
Mr. Mayor, I do know Shirley personally, and she has been involved with the KSB as of now. Her and a friend of hers she's been helping out some with it. And she has put input for that reason. We do not have a chairman of that committee. But I would like to recommend her.
discussion on that?
It'd be nice if we had something from them, from Surfside. It'd be beautiful. to which
Yeah,
one
I
they
think,
prefer.
I think committee chairmen need to weigh in on applicants, especially when there's multiple applicants.
They were aware that there's 2 applicants because I forwarded them the applications.
So they were notified that there are 2 applicants.
Yes,
Were
sir.
they able to see the 2 applicants?
Yes,
And they didn't give you any?
no.
Well, I looked at it as who filed first. And Shirley put her application in, so we're just going in order.
Okay. There's no more discussion. Sherry, you want to restate the motion?
The motion is for Shirley Gordon to be appointed to the KSBZ committee.
And that's already been seconded. You want to do a roll call?
Councilmember Stamey,
Yes.
Councilmember Holder,
Yes.
Councilmember Keating,
Yes,
Councilmember Creckwell,
Yes.
Councilmember Kinkin,
Yes.
Councilmember Drake,
Yes.
Mayor Hellier.
Yes. So that was unanimous. Moving right along, it's time for public comments. So anybody that has public comments as relates to town services or business?
Harry Coleman, 10th Avenue North. What a breath of fresh air coming in here today and having somebody in the administrative chair who actually knew what he was talking about. Gave updates, told us what was going to happen. It was really, really great. I mean, I spent 2 hours with Mr. Clemens working on the parking thing. It was a pleasure to do business with. And not once did he ask me if I played metal darts. That's an inside joke. Business, but friendly. I don't know if he's ever done this before, but I think he's doing a great job. And I don't know if he even wants the job. I wouldn't want the job, but I think he's doing a great job. And there's a good, if you're going to get somebody and he doesn't want it, get somebody like him because he's enthusiastic about it. He knows his job and if he knows what's going on. If he doesn't know what's going on, he finds out what's going on. And it's nice to know things because what people in this town only want to know is what's going on. It doesn't have to be a secret. If it's bad, we're all adults here. We'll work it out. But we need to know what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Okay, it's now time the town council's going to give their comments. Because we're probably going to go into the session after this. So we'll start out with Mr. Stanley.
Thanks for everybody coming. Thanks for Mr. Clemens stepping in and doing a great job with what you've had to work with, sir. And all our town employees, planning and zoning, the police department, our finance people, our maintenance people. Everybody in this town is trying to do a good job. It don't seem like it sometimes. It don't seem like that everything goes the way that some people want it to go. But we are working hard as a group to try to get something done. And we're saying that, thanks for coming.
Mr. Holden.
I would like to say, great for a major meeting here tonight. This is our first one, and also like the changes that we made in some of the ways. And I would like to thank the police department for the signs on 16th. I live on 15th, so and you know what? I can hear cars going fast sometimes. Sometimes I wonder how fast. I mean, I've heard 60 miles an hour down the road, but I think that sign would be flashing sign on every car will make a difference both ways. And I think it's a great investment. And it will make 16th a safer street, make it better for the people who live on it, and also better for the town. So thank you. And also, when it's on, I know you're working on getting a lot more people right now. I hope you can get them soon. I really hope in this year we can get that going.
Thank you.
And thank you for your hard work. But it's, this is gonna be a good year. We're gonna get things going fast and things are changing. We'll get the pier done and we'll have a good year. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Ms. Keating.
I want to thank those of you that came out and those that are tuning in. I think we're making some real progress. We're making some improvements. You know, with any change, it can be painful in the beginning, but it gets better. I think I really have to commend our staff, everyone. You know, we're all shorthanded in most departments and everybody is pitching in to pick up the ball wherever it may be about to be dropped. So I think in the fact that, you know, we've got other residents willing to come in part-time and help out because we've got a busy future coming up. You know, we've got our barbecue festival coming up in March. We've got, you know, the pier ready to be open though, so that opening ceremony needs to be planned. We've got, you know, the comprehensive plan in works and those communication threads with that. So, you know, that's just a couple of the highlights. There's any number of other things going on that requires communication and notification to our stakeholders and our residents. So I think the fact that we're working together as a team under the leadership of Chief Clemens, that, you know, everybody is stepping up and everybody is pulling their weight and jumping in wherever they need to be. So I just want to go and tell our employees that I appreciate that in all departments. So with that, thanks for coming out. We will see you in a couple weeks.
Thanks for all that's listening and all of you that have come out. And I don't have much to say tonight, except for thanks to all the town employees and keep doing a good job. Good night.
I also want to thank everyone for coming out and the ones that have tuned in. We do have a great town. We have a really good staff. We do have some shortages and hopefully we'll get those taken care of quickly. But they do a great job. Some of the friendliest people in town wear blue shirts and also work on our streets. And we just have really good employees. I encourage everyone to be involved in this comprehensive plan. Come out on the 21st. You know, they probably have an opportunity for input. Please do, because this is what we're going to look like in 10 years. It's a map for what we're going to be like in 10 years. And I actually looked at the old plan and there was things that were done that I didn't realize were even in the plan. But it's nice when you see that, looking back, that, yeah, we did this, we did this, we did this, and we're going to look at it in 10 years and say the same thing. I just feel like it's real important for the future of our town. I want to hope everybody has a good week, and we'll see you maybe in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Mr. Craig.
I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and coming out tonight. And thanks for the park committee, Mr. Harry Coleman, for the hard work and getting all that stuff put together. And for Ms. Adair, for the planning, the comprehensive plan. That is very, very important, again, for our town 10-year plan. It will be known as Surfside Beach, the family beach. So don't forget the family beach part. So please come out and promote that. Keep us a small town atmosphere. That's why we moved here. That's why we like it here. That's why we want to keep it that way. And thanks to Mr. Kenny Hoffman, what you do with the police department, the speeds, things that you brought into town with us on that. And appreciate the public works and everything they do. And thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, like always, in this last couple of weeks, I've had more communication with the town employees than I had in a long time as far as communication with the administrator. I got invited last week to do a news press thing with the police department on their new high water vehicle, and I got to go for a ride on it down the ocean. It was pretty cool. And I also got to swear in a police officer on Wednesday of last week, which is a brand new police officer that came to us from Charleston. And everybody's doing good. I see that on our pier parking lot that we've got some grant money coming from, and that the administrator tells us that when we're doing the Huckabee parking lot, that we've got a $9,000 grant for that. So, you know, they're working and getting the money, and it's only gonna be a matter of a couple of months before we start seeing those baskets laying out all over town, the garden baskets that they make for the spring. And I'm looking forward to that. And we've got a lot going on. The town administrator, myself, and Councilman Holder went to breakfast and a meeting of the economic development people. And we met with the chamber, and we talked to the chamber in reference to the money that the chamber has of ours that we're gonna be able to use for the grand opening of the pier. So we're working on that. And it's quite a substantial amount, so we're looking to have a good thing. The pier is still scheduled to be completed on April 16th, but that doesn't mean the pier is gonna open on April 16th. That means that's when the contractor is supposed to hand us the keys and tell us that it's done, and then we need to do the preparation and get ready for the opening. So we've got a lot going on, and I appreciate everybody's input that they've had on this, and you guys have a good evening, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. And with that, I need a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to enter into executive session in accordance with Freedom of Information Act, Section 30-470A1, to discuss the ongoing employment and personnel issues, as well as Section 30-470A2, to discuss negotiation positions incident to proposed contracts for our peer leases and the youth association.
Second.
Okay. Was there any discussion? Sherry, do you want to restate the motion? Good luck.
There's a motion to adjourn a regular meeting and enter executive session pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act, Section 30-470A1, discussion of employment, and also Section 30-470A2, discussion of negotiations incident to propose contractual arrangements, peer leases, and youth association.
And roll call, please.
Councilmember Stamey.
Yes.
Councilmember Holder.
Yes.
Councilmember Keating.
Yes.
Councilmember Petloff.
Yes.
Councilmember Kinkin.
Yes.
Councilmember Drake.
Yes.
Mayor Hellier.
Yes. And with that, we're into executive session. You all are welcome to wait. We'll let people in when we get done.
You have more information on this.
I did.
You will send it to us.